Hi, my name is Marilyn Carlsten. For National Poetry Month, I will be reading a poem I wrote called All Women. It does talk about rape, so for your mental health, I would suggest not listening to it if that triggers you. I'm not going to talk about what happened, because if I do, I'll have to use words I've never let touch my teeth, and those words feel like broken glass in a mouth already full of blood. So instead, let me tell you about a chair. Wobbly, wooden. I sat in it once, and ever since my spine refuses to rest. Let me tell you about walls, how I press my back against them so I can see every corner, how I count exits like prayers, how I laugh at jokes that aren't funny just so no one sees the scream behind my smile. Let me talk about soap, how it doesn't fix anything, but I use it anyways, again and again and again. Like if I scrub long enough, maybe it'll make the memory disappear and my skin along with it. Let me tell you about silence, how it screams louder than sirens, how it seeps into your lungs and settles, heavy, holy, hollow. I don't want to say what happened, so instead I talk about clocks and cabinets and coffee that's always going cold because I can't stop shaking long enough to drink it. Let me tell you about candles, the kind I light for no reason, the kind that make a room feel softer so my body doesn't remember how hard the world can be. Let me talk about showers, about the routine. Shampoo, left shoulder, chest, pause, breathe, repeat. Because if I don't follow the steps, something might snap. Let me tell you about the floor, how I lie on it sometimes because it's solid, unmoving, because my bed remembers things I am trying to forget. Don't ask why I can't sleep. Ask me about ceilings, how they watch. Ask me why I keep the lights on until morning. Ask me why I keep calling it a bad night when it was a person with a face and a name and a choice. Let me tell you about bees, buzzing, building, breaking, barreling through my brain every time someone brushes too close, says relax, says smile, says don't make this weird. Let me talk about keys, how I hold them between my fingers like weapons, how I check that they're still in my hand even when I'm inside, especially when I'm inside. Let me tell you about windows, how I lock them twice, sometimes three times, even the ones on the second floor, especially those. Let me tell you about sweaters. Big ones, heavy ones, on hot days in crowded rooms like a wall, like a warning. Let me tell you about music, the volume up, way up, drowning out the thoughts that pound on the door of my chest. Let me tell you how silence is never actually silent anymore. Let me talk about eye contact, how it burns, how it bruises, how it feels like standing naked in a room full of knives. Let me talk about the color red, how if I think too much, it reminds me of stop signs he ignored and warnings I whispered that no one listened to. Let me talk about the long way home, the one with more street lights, more people, more cameras, fewer shadows. Let me tell you about how I plan my exits like fire drills and how I memorize license plates just in case. How I send home safe texts to friends and lie when they ask me if I am. Let me tell you about the burden of breath, about the backbending ballet of being fine, about bottling every bit of rage into a sentence that always starts with, it's okay, I'm just tired. I am tired of metaphors, of hiding horror in pretty words, of padding pain in poetry because you can't live with what you can't handle what I've lived through. So here it is, the truth without rhythm, without rhyme, without rescue. He raped me. And everything I just told you was me trying not to say that. Because if I say it out loud, it becomes my reality. We know it's not all men, but all women worry. Thank you.